again, this is Lori Dee, and I'm doing another I Am Your Friend, where I just kind of rant into the camera. And this is piggybacking off of the Who is Lori Dee rant that I just did and posted. And I just was thinking about it, and just to sum things up, Lori Dee is an entertainer. So that's who Lori Dee is. Is Lorraine an entertainer? Well, yes, she is, but Lorraine is not constantly entertaining. So that's the difference. While Lorraine is not constantly entertaining, Lori Dee is. And that's really the main difference. And I noticed, like, when I was growing up, that people tend to like people who like to entertain other people. And it gets you a lot of babysitting jobs, too. Parents love people who have the gift of entertaining children. And it's like, I don't know, if you're from the Xennial generation like I am, you're being born in the late 70s and early 80s. It was like all the kids were expected to be the entertainers. We entertained the adults, the grandparents, all their friends, all our friends. We were constantly entertaining nonstop. So, I mean, if we had like any type of midlife crisis, we probably had it when we were like 20 years old or 21 years old. Because at that point in time, we were like, listen, I'm not an entertainer. I am an entertainer. I like to entertain, but I can't do this 24 hours a day. It does kind of get to you. Like, and that happened to me. I think it happened when I was about 20 years old. Yeah, about 20 years old. And I think a lot of people in my generation kind of like had that type of a crisis. So we already had our midlife crisis. We had it when we were 20 years old and we recovered. So we're all cool now. We're all good. And we're like totally cool with being old. So maybe we're like the first generation to actually not have a stream of midlife crises, because we already had our midlife crisis. We were like in our early 20s. But yeah, that's when we had our crisis, because we were used to constantly entertaining. And I wouldn't say that that the child stars that represented the Xennial generation were much different, especially when you look at the terms of like Full House. Candace Cameron didn't quite have it as an extreme crisis because she was very Christian. She has a strong Christian background, and she can be DJ and the entertainer part of herself. She can be DJ and Candace at the same time, and she's totally cool with that because she has a family who loves and accepts Candace, and Candace does have the gift of entertaining, but Candace does not entertain all the time. In order to have a healthy self-esteem, you need to start paying attention to yourself sometimes. Like clowns and entertainers in general, they're the most depressed people that ever lived, because they're never allowed to focus on themselves, or like really, just a lot of them actually do go into meditation. I notice a lot of entertainers also do Kabbalah style Jewish meditation. It is so helpful. Another friend of mine does it too, but it's so helpful and necessary to pay attention to yourself and just be yourself, and not have to worry about entertaining people all the time. All my little jobs that I had, I was expected to entertain. I worked at Six Flags for 6 years when I was in high school, and that was just entertaining people all day long. Doesn't matter what job you had. I worked in like 3 different positions in the park. So, but any type of customer facing position, whether you're a server or working in retail or even working in fast food at the registers, you're constantly putting on a face. You're constantly entertaining. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm very good at doing that. I don't think being able to entertain translates well into teaching. Wasn't the best teacher in the world. I had some discipline issues. But I'm very, like, people want entertaining people to be childcare workers and everything. So it only becomes like an emotional problem when the people close to you, not necessarily the people that you're trying to entertain, but when the people so close to you refuse to accept that you don't want to entertain people 24 hours a day, basically. That's really all it is. I mean, they won't accept it. They don't. They like attached to you, and they expect you to make them happy. Like that's your job to make them happy all the time, and you enjoy making them happy. You want to make them happy, but there comes a point in time where you need to focus more on yourself. You know what I mean? You got to focus on yourself and your own needs. So we were talking about Full House. So I talked about Candace Cameron, but her sister Stephanie, and I don't even remember the name of the actress that played it, and that's how bad it is, did not have that, did not have that love. People wanted her to be the entertainer Stephanie all the time, and they wouldn't accept that her for who she was. And it's not that she didn't want to be that. I mean, she just she does enjoy it. I mean, she's come to terms with it, but it was a long journey for her. She's gone through a lot of internal battles, and I don't think that people should have to go through internal battles like that, especially in their early 20s. I don't think that. Why is it so hard for your family to accept that you don't want to act like a clown all the time? I mean, why is that? I mean, I'm okay with it, I'm totally cool with it, especially with my YouTube channel. But why is that so hard for the people who are closest to you to accept? I mean, really, who is the one with the problem here? Is it you, or is it the people close to you? I mean, it's not normal to go around, expecting you to be a character in a sitcom 24/7. I mean, even they get breaks, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, yes, that's abnormal. It's really an abnormal expectation to expect people to do that. So, recently I went through like this awakening experience, and I had an experiment where I had a page. It's offline now, you can't find it. Maybe I'll bring it back. But it's called Fairy's Cavern. And in this experiment, I actually went online as myself, as Lorraine. And I got some positive feedback from it. And I was so skittish. I mean, I'm not used to operating as the non-entertaining version of myself. I'm not used to it. I'm really not. I know that it's so much easier to operate as the entertaining version of myself. And I wouldn't say that, it's like different personalities. It's not. It's the same exact personality. It's just the topics that you choose to talk about and the tone of voice and your expressions. You're not entertaining anymore. And a lot of my friends used to adopt nicknames for themselves, for their more entertaining version of themselves. And I wish I did too. Like my cousin, she was no longer Nadia. She was now Liz. My friend Jeff was not Jeff anymore. He was just Shade Moonbeam. So, and I can make up like, as he's no longer Michael, he's Two Shades, but maybe what you need to do is actually do create a nickname. That way you make it very clear to your family that this is your, who you are when you're hanging out with your friends or you're performing on a stage. This is your performer aspect of yourself. This is your more entertaining version of yourself. This is not you. You are still Michael. So like you would force your mom. It's like, don't call me Two Shades Mom. I'm Michael. So, making it very clear to your family that you're not this enter more entertaining version of yourself. So they don't force you to be or act like that like 24 hours a day, and you don't like develop like serious mental issues from it, like mental problems from doing that. Like and so you don't have the same problems that like only child actors are supposed to have, you know what I mean? So that way you can make it clear to them that this is just your professional version of yourself. This is just your more entertaining version of yourself. And then when you are a more entertaining version of yourself, you don't talk about yourself. You don't talk about your feelings. You know what I mean? You're trying to liven the mood. You're trying to pull stunts to make people laugh, you know, or you're telling a bunch of entertaining stories about your life. You're not directly expressing your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions. You're not acting. Yeah, you're acting through a persona. Like who you are is probably how you would be talking to your lover, your husband, or your therapist. You know, there's very few people that you really kind of like directly talk to as yourself. Or a lot of people, when they have like really good, relationships with their parents, sometimes it is their mom or dad, you know, that they're very open with. You know what I mean? So there's not very many people that you're very open with, but when you're as yourself, you are open and vulnerable. But as this cool version of yourself, you're not. There's like a shield, and it's not exactly being fake. I think it's just like having social skills, you know? You're just more entertaining, and you know how to, just hang out with people, and you know how to have a good time without getting drunk off your ass. You know, some people actually do need a couple drinks to be their Lori Dee. You know what I mean? Well, I can be Lori Dee without being totally sober. But some people, they kind of need to have a couple drinks before they can become their more entertaining version of themselves. So, yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like Lori Dee is the entertainer, and most people need some type of liquid courage to be more entertaining, but I don't. I could be entertaining all by myself in the middle of the night, all the time. I have so much experience doing it. But it's like, if it gets to the point where your closest friends and family want you to act like you're kind of I don't know, a drunk person or a tipsy person, like all the time, and they think that's you, and they get like really offended when you don't act that way, then that's a serious problem, you know. And I really think that parents need to realize that yes, it's good that you can be so entertaining, and it's good that you can like liven the mood up with parties or make kids laugh, and that's definitely a talent and a gift. But you can't be an entertainer if you're entertaining all the time. You have to spend some time alone with yourself, and you need to make friends who really love you for who you are, and who don't expect you to entertain them all the time. And it's very hard. Like I had to break away from so many of my friends, and I even like became, I think, a sort of an object of persecution with the comedy world. So just for trying to be myself, and that was very hurtful. They're always looking for someone to, but I just realized deep down that these are comedians, and they kind of just like making fun of people, you know. But yeah, it's amazing that they attack the one. I couldn't help it. I mean, I was like my true self was shining through. I couldn't stop it, which is a great thing, because deep down I'm a writer, and when you like allow your true personality to show through, And you realize that it's not that nobody liked you, nobody even knew you. You know what I mean? And find some new friends who don't expect to be entertained all the time. And if you watch YouTube, like most people on YouTube do have a gift, you know, they that have a significant amount of subscribers. They do have a gift, you know, they are able to entertain people, but all because they're not entertaining people 24 hours a day, and they need some time, you know, off. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that that talent goes away. They still are able to entertain people. So like, you know, Stephanie's back on a Full House, and she's incorporated. The actress has incorporated her life experiences into Stephanie, the character of Stephanie. So like, it doesn't mean that Stephanie has gone away, because Stephanie needed some time alone to find herself, the character on the television show, because she incorporated that into that. It doesn't mean that she's a different person now. She's just trying so hard to be herself, you know. She's just trying so hard to be the person that she is. And it doesn't mean that she loses her gift of entertaining, but it's very hard to expect somebody to act like, you know, more or less a clown all the time. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like, that's a very irrational expectation to put on somebody. You should be able to accept, like, sometimes not the comedians I'm meeting today that just like to make fun of people, but the truly entertaining comedians are some of the most depressed people in the world. I mean, when you really get to know them and you get to know who they are deep down, they're so sad, because they honestly feel like, unless they're trying to entertain people constantly, that nobody would like them. And it's like I had some like really deep, before I got married, I had some really deep emotional connections with a couple of comedians, and I like connected with them so strongly, and it's just not true, you know. So it's like, you should like do what a lot of people do. You should invent a nickname for yourself. That way, it's more clear. You know what I mean? It's more clear. Like, Two Shades is not Michael, and Michael is not Two Shades. So like, like, you can make it clear that, you know, I'm my more entertaining version of myself now, and now I am myself. I'm not in the mood to entertain anybody right now. So that's kind of the difference that I was trying to portray and make, and sometimes I get really deep. So I mean, I sound like I'm just like joking around, but I got like a hardcore message with this, and I guess somebody needed to hear that. Somebody who watches my channel. So whoever you are, this message is for you. So yeah, it's okay. And the flip side is, you don't have to be like, you know, super, you know, depressed and morbid all the time. It's okay to lighten up and have fun. You know, it's okay to be more entertaining. You know, and you're not you know, being fake or anything like that, for wanting to liven the mood up a little bit. But no one should expect you to do that 24 hours a day, right? And so it's a minimum, maximum maybe a couple hours a day after work, or maybe on the weekend or something like that, when you're hanging out with your friends. And that's it, you know. Then you should be able to go home, you know, and be yourself. You know, it shouldn't have to be 24 hours a day, every single day. You know what I mean? So yeah, you should be able to just be yourself, and like, have not people have freak out on you. Like, why aren't you entertaining me? I go, well, why don't you go watch TV or something? Seriously, yeah, seriously, just go on YouTube and bring up a video. You don't need me to entertain you 24 hours a day.